Hello everyone, so I'm Jay from Abay. So I'm here to report about one of the communication theory, which is the cultivation theory, which was developed by George Gardner. So without further ado, let's start. But before proceeding to the proper discussion, let me ask you a question first. What are the odds that you will be involved in some kind of violent act within the next 7 days? 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100? In this answer by George Gardner, he emphasized that the chance that you will get involved in violent act is with how much TV you watch with actual risk you face in the week to come. So, let's know who is George Gardner first. A Hungarian with an American profession, Dean of Emeritus of the Annenberg School for Communication of the University of Pennsylvania and founder of the Cultural Environment Movement. George Gardner has a long time experience as Dean and founder of Cultural Environment Movement. He served as an editor of the Journal of Communication, and for almost 2 decades, he spearheaded an extensive research program that monitored the level of violence on television. In this research by George Gardner about monitoring the level of violence on television, cultivation theory came up, which is the theory about TV violence. He claimed that because TV contains so much violence, people who spend the most time in front of tube develop an exaggerated belief and mean in a scary world. Gardner was really sincere in his theory that he claimed TV contains much violence, which in today's era with our televisions at homes, TV could be a positive aspect where we can watch news and allow us to interpret information in the media world. So when we say paranoia, it is a mental illness characterized by systemized delusions or of persecutions or grandeur, usually without hallucinations. So this social paranoia stops the impressions of trustworthy people and safe surrounding. It was more like social paranoia was resulted because of the TV violence in which we people get. Next is like Marshall McLuhan, Gardner regarded television as a dominant force in shaping modern society. McLuhan was also a pioneer of the cultivation theory, which he believes that TV contains much violence which most people engage with. On the other hand, Gardner was convinced that with the power of TV, it reflected a real-life drama situation. Gardner claimed that people now watch television as they might attend church, except that most people watch television more religiously. Gardner believed that instead, people will go to church, they watch televisions for that allotted time. That's why Gardner concluded that TV creates violence. However, people who watch television more religiously is an exception. It could be they watch mass gatherings in their televisions or watching religious movies. According to Gardner, violence is one of the major staples of television. When we say staples, it is produced regularly or in large quantities, which means in the TV world, violence is created all the time. Because of this, Gardner's expertise in the field of communication was widely acknowledged. So now, let's just define what is cultivation theory. So cultivation theory holds that long-term exposure to media shapes how the consumers of media perceive the world and conduct themselves. It is very evident that cultivation theory is a long-time exposure of people to media and how we behave in the media world. Again, Cultivation theory was introduced by George Gerbner, which means to examine the influence of television. Cultivation theory has been widely studied by many scholars, and the scope of the theory isn't limited to the TV violence. Other scholars theorize about how the TV affects perceptions, health risks of smoking, popularity of various political positions, and appropriate gender roles. These influences has been theorized because people can watch this violence on the television. And now let's proceed to the prongs of cultivation theory. First, we have the institutional process analysis. Institutional process analysis adheres the scholar's concerns of the messages in the media. Gerbner's research addressing this concern, institutional process analysis, so this prong was developed by a research of Gerbner that was for the scholar to adhere reasons in the media world. The second prong is the message system analysis. The message system analysis is a careful study of the TV content that involves analysis and research methods. Message system analysis identifies if the TV contents are essential or not essential. So this prong is a careful and a systematic study of TV content. In this example, TV can cultivate perception about smoking behavior and appropriate gender roles, which these issues are need to be carefully studied and systemized by many scholars. So before proceeding to the third prong of cultivation theory, there are few concepts that need to be understood. An index of violence. First, we have the dramatic violence. It is to manifest a physical force that demands against a person's will, or some are victimized as part of the scene. Dramatic violence is result from gender inequality, unequal job opportunities, and as well as killing people. Because of dramatic violence, Gerbner devoted most of his research in studying the cultivating impact of media violence. This is to picture out how violence is shown on the television. Next is equal violence and equal risk. It is not debatable in the analysis of Gerbner, violence are different from year to year. The violence in every year are increasing, which means all people receives violence but they don't have the same level of danger. According to Gerbner, 50% of the characters are white, middle-class males, and women are outnumbered by men from 3 to 1. There is violence where women are dominated by men. And most characters are white and there are only middle-class males. And now let's proceed to the third and last prong of cultivation theory, which is the cultivation analysis. The third prong is a research designed to support an individual's impression that spend more time watching TV. Devotees and subscribers of cultivation theory believe that the second prong, which is the message system analysis, is necessary and in line to the third prong. Message system analysis is a careful and systematic study of TV content, which in the third prong, individuals' notion watching TV should undergo a systematic and careful study. The concept of cultivation refers to the contribution of television viewing that makes the TV viewers relate it to social reality. And now let's proceed to the next slide. Cultivation works like a magnetic or gravitational field. We have here accessibility principle. This takes place when people make judgments about the world around them and the information that come to mind most quickly. Gerbner relates cultivation theory with the TV content influences as a cue ball on a billiard table that pushes other balls to a new locations upon impact. Furthermore, Michael Morgan and his co-authors point out that the cultivation process is much more like the pull of a gravitational field, which is explained with the same sample with a billiard balls pushes to a new locations. Next slide is mainstreaming, blurring, blending, and bending of attitudes. The blurring, blending, and bending process by which heavy TV viewers from disparate groups develop a common outlook through constant exposure to the same images and labels. Gerbner thought that through constant exposure to the same images and labels, heavy viewers develop a commonality of outlook that doesn't happen with the radio. On the other hand, social scientists have come to expect that this process would hold with the political differences between rich and poor, black and whites, Catholics and Protestants, city dwellers and farmers. Let us define what is heavy TV viewers. These are people who report that they watch at least 4 hours per day, television types. So heavy TV viewers are more vocal when it comes to what they see on television. There are more heavy viewers who voice opinions in favor of lowering taxes and national defense. However, heavy TV viewers are against big government, free speech, homosexual marriage, or gays at the military. Gerbner illustrated that mainstreaming effect by showing how heavy TV viewers blur economic and political distinctions. So that's why heavy viewers are against on these legislations. So we have here resonance, the TV words like my world, so it must be true. So let us define what is resonance. Resonance is a condition when TV viewers feels that their real life world is same with the TV world, and these viewers are very open to TV's cultivating power. Viewers with resonance could create violent actions that they influence from TV that they may bring to the real world. We have research on cultivating analysis. According to Gerber, cultivation takes time. Cultivation unlocks gradually with collecting TV messages. Heavy TV viewers would be more like than light viewers, as they see the social world and to picture out the world of TV. Again, so heavy TV viewers are viewers who report that they watch at least 4 hours per day. Moving on to the major findings of cultivation analysis. So we have here cultivation differential. The difference, cultivation differential. Cultivation differential is the difference of the percentage between heavy viewers and light viewers, giving them a television answers. Gerbner also referred to cultivation differential rather than media effects because there is a comparison between the before TV exposure of the viewers and after the TV exposure. Gerbner also believed that television enters people's lives during infancy. So imagine that one, television enters in the lives of people during infancy, so we don't have that, we are still out of our ideas that Gerbner believed that television enters in our lives during infancy. Surveys of Gerbner has some to have revealed with provocative findings. So these are the provocative findings of George Gerbner with the cultivation theory. Number one is the positive correlation between TV viewing and fear of criminal victimization. Most surveys of Gerbner revealed a small but statistically significant relationship of the TV consumption and fear of the viewers about becoming a victim of a crime. We have a statistical procedure called meta-analysis. So let us define this meta-analysis. Meta-analysis blends the result of both independent and multiple empirical research studies exploring the relationship between two variables. Meta-analysis could be applicable to a research when comparing two variables. So just like Gerbner, his research tries to compare the two variables, which are the consumption of TV consumption and the fear of people involving the victimization. Second provocative finding is the perceived activity of police. Heavy viewing habits believe that only 5% of the society is involved in law enforcement. Imagine that. There are only 5% according to the heavy TV viewers, that there are only 5% of society is involved in strengthening the law. Meaning, they felt that they are secured as they watch television because their video world is peopled with police officers and government agents. So heavy TV viewers are very, what do you call this one, dominant when it comes to how they feel when they watch television. So they feel like they are secured already. So they believe that there are only 5% of the society which are involved in the law enforcement. The third provocative finding is the general mistrust of people. People with heavy viewing habits are doubtful of the other's actions and their desires. Here are some proverbs that heavy TV viewers subscribe. Most people are just looking out for themselves. In dealing with others, you can't be too careful. Do unto others before they do unto you. So these are the proverbs that warn people expect the worst. And we are now down to the last part of our report, which is the critic. The critic of the cultivation theory. To know how strong is the evidence in favor of the theory. So as we know that every theory deserves a strong evidence. So these are the evidence of the cultivation theory by George Gerbner. The dramatic content of television creates a fearful climate in the real world, according to Gerbner. The relationship between TV viewing and fear of criminal victimization can be interpreted equally, not just in one way but more. With difficulties of Gerbner's rivalry, he claimed that TV viewing causes fear of crime. So, at the end, George Gerbner claimed that people view television that they may get violent acts and they may fear on the television. So together with the correlational data, the only way to distinguish what causes collect information from the same TV viewers over a period of time. So that's it for my report, and I hope you learned something from this video, and see you guys in my next discussion, and hope to see you soon. Bye.